watch the King of Pop transform into a skeleton and dance with an army of supernatural beings. But beneath Ghost's groundbreaking horror spectacle is a vault of shocking secrets that most fans never discover. Well, join us today as we expose 20 weird facts you didn't know about Michael Jackson's ghosts. What if I told you Stephen King was genuinely frightened by what he witnessed during filming, that multiple crew members quit after experiencing real paranormal encounters, and that the 39-minute short film cost more than most Hollywood blockbusters? I'll stop teasing now. Let's not ruin the fun, but dive straight to it. Fact 20. The $15 million gamble. When Michael Jackson set out to make Ghosts, he didn't want a simple music video, he wanted a horror spectacle that could rival Hollywood itself. The price tag, a staggering $15 million, making it the most expensive short film in history. To fund it, Michael reportedly mortgaged properties and borrowed against future album sales. Insiders whispered he was pushing his finances dangerously close to the edge, all for a project with no guaranteed commercial release. It was a gamble that critics later called reckless, but for Michael, the vision mattered more than the money. And that obsession would pull some of the biggest names in entertainment into his supernatural world, including one master of horror who didn't last long on set. Fact 19. When the King of Pop met the King of Horror. Before cameras even rolled, Michael teamed up with none other than Stephen King to shape the story of Ghosts. The master of horror co-wrote the original treatment, helping craft the tale of a mysterious maestro battling fearful villagers. On paper, it was the perfect pairing, the King of Pop joining forces with the King of Horror. But whispers say the collaboration didn't last long on set. King allegedly preferred to keep his distance, phoning in notes from his hotel rather than braving the mansion-like atmosphere of the soundstage. Whether it was scheduling conflicts or something darker, the result was the same. A story born from one of the strangest creative alliances in entertainment history, and one that only grew eerier once production began. Fact 18. The crew who walked away. Ghosts wasn't just tough on its audience, it was brutal on the people making it. The shoot stretched for years, with endless makeup sessions, marathon rehearsals, and late-night filming that pushed everyone to their limits. Several crew members quietly quit the project, officially citing exhaustion. But whispers on set painted a stranger picture. Camera operators complained of extra figures drifting through their viewfinders, while sound techs swore they caught faint voices when the rooms were empty. Whether it was burnout or something more unsettling, the effect was the same. One by one, people began walking away, leaving the production with a reputation as haunted as the story it was trying to tell. Fact 17. The mansion that took years to build. The haunted mansion at the center of Ghosts wasn't just a backdrop, it was one of the largest indoor sets ever constructed at the time. Built on a massive soundstage, the project dragged on for years, with crews pouring endless hours into sculpting staircases, crumbling walls, and cavernous halls that looked centuries old. By the time cameras rolled, the set felt more like a real place than a piece of Hollywood magic. Cast members described wandering through its corridors late at night, and forgetting they were inside a studio at all. Some swore the mansion had an energy of its own, as if the longer it stood, the more alive it became. It wasn't just a stage, it was a labyrinth, and for those working inside it, sometimes it felt like the mansion was watching them back. Fact 16. Michael became 5 different people. In Ghosts, Michael didn't just play the maestro, he also became the villainous mayor, a skeletal ghoul, a towering super ghost, and a handful of other eerie figures. Each transformation required hours of prosthetics, new voices, and distinct personalities. Crew members said the lines between characters sometimes blurred. Michael would leave the set still speaking in the mayor's gruff tone, or slip into the eerie mannerisms of the maestro during casual conversations. Spending up to 18 hours a day under heavy makeup, it was as though he lived inside the masks as much as he wore them. The performances dazzled audiences, but insiders whispered that embodying so many dark figures at once left Michael drained in ways they'd never seen before. For him, Ghosts wasn't just a film, it was a full possession. Fact 15. Makeup that pushed the limits. To bring Michael's transformations to life, director and effects legend Stan Winston used techniques that rivaled anything in big-budget Hollywood films. Prosthetics, animatronics, and experimental materials turned Jackson into creatures that looked disturbingly real. But the pursuit of realism came with a cost. Dancers complained about skin irritation from the layers of chemicals, and Michael himself spent long hours with prosthetics so heavy they restricted his movement and breathing. Medical staff were often nearby, monitoring the toll the makeup was taking. Winston later admitted he was pushing the boundaries of what was safe, blurring the line between movie magic and physical strain. For the cast and crew, the monsters on screen weren't the only ones causing fear. Fact 14. The film that wasn't meant to exist. Believe it or not, Ghosts wasn't originally planned as its own standalone project. The idea began as a short piece tied to the 1993 movie Addams Family Values, with Michael appearing as a supernatural character. But when the plan fell through, Michael kept the concept alive. Over time, it evolved into something far darker and far more ambitious, a 39-minute horror epic that had nothing to do with the Addams family at all. It was as if the project refused to die, taking on a life of its own. What started as a quirky movie tie-in grew into one of Michael's boldest and most haunting artistic gambles. Fact 13. The songs written for the dead. Unlike Thriller, which leaned on one iconic track, Ghosts came with 3 original songs crafted by Michael himself: Too Bad, Is It Scary, and the title track Ghosts. Each one blended pop with eerie soundscapes, designed to feel more like a haunting than a simple soundtrack. Fans noticed the lyrics were unusually dark, full of themes about fear, persecution, and being misunderstood. To many, it felt less like entertainment and more like Michael was speaking from the shadows of his own life. Combined with the unsettling visuals, the songs gave Ghosts a chilling resonance, making it feel less like a music short and more like a requiem whispered to the living. Fact 12. A film that took years to finish. Ghosts wasn't filmed in a rush. It stretched across years. Production began in the early 1990s but wasn't completed until 1996, delayed by rewrites, reshoots, and Michael's grueling schedule. The drawn-out process had strange side effects. Some cast members visibly changed between shoots, aging just enough that sharp-eyed fans could spot differences in their appearance. The film almost seemed to capture time itself passing, like a slow transformation woven into the footage. By the time it was finally finished, Ghosts already felt haunted by its own history, a project that refused to stay in one moment, stretching itself across seasons and years. Fact 11. A premiere fit for the supernatural. When Ghosts was finally unveiled, it didn't debut in a small theatre or on TV. It premiered at the 1997 Cannes Film Festival, where more than 3,500 people gathered to watch Michael's 39-minute horror spectacle on the big screen. For a short film tied to music, this was unheard of. Cannes audiences were used to art house dramas and international cinema, not a pop star transforming into skeletons and monsters. Yet when the lights dimmed, the crowd sat in stunned silence, as if they'd witnessed something more than a simple film. The event only added to the project's legend, a music video that walked into the same arena as the world's most celebrated films, carrying with it an aura that critics struggled to explain. Fact 10. The short film that wasn't short. At 39 minutes long, Ghosts blurred the line between music video and feature film. No other pop star had ever attempted something on that scale. It wasn't just a video, it was a full cinematic experience. The runtime made it nearly impossible to broadcast on standard TV, frustrating networks and limiting its reach. But fans who saw it claimed the length only added to its power, pulling them deeper into Michael's eerie world until they forgot they were watching a music video at all. By the end, Ghosts didn't feel like a promotional piece. It felt like a film that had slipped through from another dimension, too strange to be contained by the usual rules of pop. Fact 9. A soundtrack straight out of Hollywood horror. When Ghosts was released, critics were stunned by its production value. The booming sound design and eerie score didn't sound like a pop video, they sounded like something ripped straight from a high-budget horror film. Reviewers compared its audio and atmosphere to classics from the very genre Michael was paying homage to. Every thud, every whisper, every creaking floorboard was engineered to unsettle, blurring the line between a music short and a theatrical fright show. For a project led by a pop superstar, Ghosts had the soundscape of a Hollywood nightmare, proof that Michael wasn't just dabbling in horror, he was mastering it. Fact 8. The film too strange for TV. Unlike Thriller, which dominated MTV, Ghosts never got the widespread airtime Michael expected. Networks quietly avoided it, claiming it was too long, too dark, or simply too unsettling for prime audiences. In some countries, the film never aired at all. Fans traded bootlegs, whispered about rare screenings, and treated the short like forbidden media. The harder it was to find, the stronger its legend grew. It wasn't banned outright, but the effect was the same. Ghosts became a piece of pop culture that felt underground, like a work the world wasn't meant to see. Fact 7. Directed by a master of monsters. Most music videos are directed by flashy stylists. Ghosts was directed by Stan Winston, the Hollywood legend behind The Terminator, Aliens, and Jurassic Park. He wasn't just a filmmaker, he was the man who gave life to some of cinema's most terrifying creatures. With Winston at the helm, Ghosts didn't look like a music promo, it looked like a blockbuster horror movie. Every transformation, every monster, every unsettling effect carried the weight of his experience. It's no wonder fans say Ghosts feels more like a hidden horror film than a music short. With the king of pop in front of the camera and the king of monsters behind it, the result was bound to blur the line between spectacle and nightmare. Fact 6. The film that took a toll on the body. The monsters of Ghosts weren't just digital tricks. They were real people buried under layers of prosthetics, paint, and animatronics. Hours in the makeup chair left dancers with raw skin, aching joints, and exhaustion that no amount of rest seemed to fix. Michael himself endured some of the harshest transformations, with prosthetics that restricted his breathing and costumes so heavy he needed help just to move between takes. Crew members whispered that some performers collapsed from the strain, only to return the next day as if nothing had happened. The official line was that it was all part of the job, but for those who worked on set, the bruises and scars left behind made it feel like the supernatural wasn't just on screen, it was carving its way into their bodies. Fact 5. The $15 million film that vanished. For all its ambition, Ghosts never found the audience it deserved. Despite costing more than many feature films, it had no wide theatrical release and barely reached television. Executives blamed the runtime. Others whispered it was just too strange for mainstream audiences. But the result was the same, a $15 million masterpiece that quietly disappeared, known more through bootlegs and word of mouth than official screenings. Like the very spirits it portrayed, Ghosts seemed to fade into the shadows, a film too big to ignore, yet somehow unseen by the world it was made for. Fact 4. A centerpiece of the history era, Ghosts wasn't just a random side project, it was crafted as part of Michael's history era, the period when he was reinventing himself with bold, larger-than-life statements. The short film was meant to showcase his artistic defiance, pairing his music with visuals that pushed beyond anything seen in pop before. On stage during the History World Tour, fans said Michael carried the same eerie energy as his maestro character, as though the line between performer and creation had blurred. The timing wasn't accidental. Ghosts was his attempt to define himself in an era of intense public scrutiny, turning horror into a mirror for his own life. For many fans, it wasn't just another video. It was Michael's way of haunting back, using spectacle and shadows to confront the world that wouldn't leave him alone. Fact 3. The Michael who never came back. Those who knew Michael before and after Ghosts often described a change they couldn't quite explain. In the mid-90s, his public image grew darker, his performances heavier, and his art more defiant, and many tied that shift to the film itself. On set, he slipped in and out of characters so extreme that some crew whispered he didn't always leave them behind. Friends later said he seemed more distant, as if part of him had stayed trapped inside the maestro he created. Whether it was the weight of fame or the haunting roles he embodied, one thing was clear: the Michael who walked out of Ghosts wasn't the same man who walked in. Fact 2. Rituals hidden in the dance. At first glance, the choreography and set design in Ghosts look like pure spectacle, but look closer and you'll see patterns that echo far older traditions. The swirling formations of dancers resemble ritual circles, while the set's geometric designs hint at symbols long tied to folklore and superstition. Even Michael's skeletal transformation carried echoes of death god imagery pulled from cultures across the world. None of it was accidental. Michael and his team wanted authenticity, and in chasing it, they blurred the line between performance and invocation. It's little wonder that some viewers walked away convinced they'd witnessed more than just entertainment. Fact 1. The longest music video ever made. When the dust settled, Ghosts claimed a place in history no rumor could erase. At 39 minutes long, it entered the Guinness World Records as the longest music video ever made, a record it still holds today. It wasn't just a video, it was an event. Part movie, part concert, part nightmare. Michael had pushed the boundaries of what music and film could merge into, leaving behind a creation that felt less like a project and more like a monument. And perhaps that's the real reason Ghost still lingers. Not because of curses or gateways, but because Michael made something so massive, so strange and so unique that it refuses to fade away. A record-breaking spectre etched into pop history. Bonus fact: the film that few have ever seen. Unlike Thriller, which was everywhere, Ghosts became almost impossible to find. After its Cannes debut, it was shown only in select places at special screenings on limited VHS copies and later as a rare bonus feature for fans who hunted it down. That scarcity gave it an aura no marketing campaign could buy. Fans whispered about bootlegs, swapped tapes across continents, and treated every sighting like discovering buried treasure. Even today, watching Ghosts feels less like playing a video and more like unlocking a secret. It's not just a film, it's an artifact. And for those who've seen it, the memory lingers like a haunting, proof that sometimes the rarest creations leave the deepest mark. If you found this bonus fact, comment "I got the bonus" below and let me know if you're brave enough to search for the hidden screening room. But remember, some doors are better left unopened. This is Golden Hollywood Archives. Which part shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments, and if you think we've earned a pat on the back, please subscribe and do us a favor by sharing this video to someone who loves Michael just as much as you do.